are. Okay, so I guess I should introduce myself a little bit. A lot of you probably know me. I'm Jack Alford. I'm the Vice President of this club. I grew up in Houston. Was at the University of Houston when Elizabeth Warren was a student there. I didn't know her, of course. Then I came to Austin in 1974 for graduate school. Hung around here for about 6 years. Finally had to get a job in the real world. Went to work for IBM and somehow stayed at IBM for 37 years doing technology kind of stuff. And retired about 6 years ago. We moved to Lago Vista because our daughter and her kids were moving out here. So we've been here about 6 years, where I've managed to get in a little bit of sailing and jet skiing, and also kind of got back into the music business. In fact, I'm going to have to leave here in a little while because I'm playing a show tonight. So I apologize for sneaking out early. We're going to be Cedar Park, Mouton's Bistro on the Lake Line and Cypress Creek. And we'll be there 2 weeks from tonight also. So, yeah, come on out. We play a lot of good music. You probably know the words and allowed to sing along.
It's always good.
That's enough about me. Mike wrote a blog post a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a little longer now, about the results of the Travis County Appraisal District Board election back in March. With this sort of enticing question, was our area turning a little more purple? So if you want to get into this a little more, go back to our website, check out his blog post. You'll see some of these same charts in here. So what was this election? If you don't remember, the legislature created these newly created positions that were for the first time elected positions. Prior to this last election, everybody was appointed on that board. So there was, in Travis County, there was these 3 guys that were running for these elected positions, 3 elected positions. Now these positions are nominally nonpartisan, but it was pretty clear who was supporting who. The parties strongly endorsed specific candidates, so the Democrats endorsed, and you met a couple of these guys if you've been to our Blue Thursdays, Daniel Wang, Jeff Hanna, and Levine, what's his first name? Anyhow, all these guys are highly qualified. A lot of them had served on this board before, and they've got appropriate education and experience. In contrast, the Republicans put up their county chairman, Macubeck, Don Zimmerman, who's been kind of a chaos agent for about the last 25 years. I met him when I first heard of him when we all lived in Canyon Creek, and he was fighting against taxes, mud taxes and stuff like that. And then this other guy, May, was sort of a zero. Nobody knew anything about him. So they were all basically political hacks with no relevant experience. So let's take a look real quick at our North Shore precincts and how they voted. So you're going to see this slide again when Joan talks about it later. So I don't have much to say about it, except these are our precincts. There's Point Venture, South Lago, North Lago, Jonestown, and Golden Sheep Warblers. That's who we're talking about. Actually, Ann believes there's a lot of potential here. This voted pretty strongly Democrat. We need to get a precinct chair out there, so if you live in Travis Peak or around Mountain or whatever, think about it. Anyway, one other takeaway thing to keep in the back of your mind is that in this area, Republican voters outnumber Democrats by about a 2-to-1 margin, especially like down here in Point Venture. So that's about all I'll say about that now. So the next slide is going to be a big table with lots of numbers, so if you're allergic to that sort of thing, that can avert your eyes. But the table is going to show us how many votes each candidate received in each of our precincts and how those totals compare to overall Travis County results. So the numbers are pretty small. I think you can pretty much just ignore the percentages here. And basically what it's saying is about 800 people voted in our 5 precincts in each of these 3 elections. Now, in one of them, Zimmerman is probably the best known of the Republican candidates, and he actually got the highest vote total for his race. Now, and one thing to keep in mind is that Travis County wide, the good guys all won by big margins, like 2-to-1 margins. But in our little sort of red area, Zimmerman managed to get a few more votes. But notice, it's less than 20 votes difference, right, out of 800. And even better, Daniel Lang squeaked out the highest vote total by 3 votes. There was this libertarian guy in there, another sort of nobody, but he took 75 of the votes. But so Daniel got just a very slim plurality, wasn't even a majority in our area. And then Dick Levine probably had the easiest time of it because nobody knew what this other guy was all about. And so he ended up with like 52% of the vote. But again, it's just 30 or 40 votes different. So I think the takeaways from the slide here is these were all very close elections. If we could have gotten a few more people out, we might have been able to, reverse this direction a little bit. And if these were purely local elections, I mean, we're just a drop in the bucket in terms of the overall Travis County results. But if these were local elections like school board or city council, we've argued out the vote efforts. We've proven that we can win these elections, and we can, just by these very small vote turnout. And this was a low turnout election for sure. Yeah.
So I work the elections, and I'm not a good phone bank person, but I can tell you the people that came in, a lot of them said we got phone calls. So for those of you who are making those phone calls, you are making a difference. And they often say, I got a phone call, I had people coming in, so this is because of North Shore Democrats, so thank you.
Yes. Okay, now this next table is in the blog. I'm not going to say much about it. It's a lot of detail. It's results by precinct. But again, you can look at your precinct if you're interested. And basically, what it shows is that out of a little over 16,000 potential voters, we got about 800 in each of these elections. So about 4.8%, a little under 5%. So despite all of our efforts, we still have 5%. There's a lot of untapped potential there. And if we can just get out more voters than the Republicans, we can win these.
Jack, to that and to Mike's credit, and you opening up Facebook as a public forum and getting more involved. I know oftentimes we replicate what the North Shore Republicans do, but opening up the Facebook and turning into public and doing next door really does make a difference. Maybe not so much for the younger ones who do TikTok, but for my generation, our generation, yeah, Facebook, we can shame and guilt to come out to vote.
Okay. So, get back to the question is the North Shore turning purple? Well, we did pretty well. 2 out of 3 races. Everything was pretty close, even though we're outnumbered. And so why do we think this happened? Well, it's complicated, right? There's a lot of potential reasons why the election might have come out that way. Clearly, the Democratic candidates were objectively more qualified. They're just more experienced, better education, whatever. And the Republican guys were basically just no-tax activist chaos agents. They're trying to upset the whole property tax appraisal process just so who knows why. Because running for this office would not have, these guys don't set tax rates. They don't determine what we pay in property taxes. But that's a long story. And maybe the Democrats just ran better campaigns. That's a possibility too. And maybe, like we've been talking about, we North Shore Democrats have worked real hard on this election to get out the vote and educate people. And like Dwayne mentioned, the demographics are definitely changing. There's a lot of people moving in from out of state. There's a lot of younger people coming into especially Lago, maybe even Point Venture. So, are we turning purple? Well, it was only one election, and there's a lot of factors, as we saw, that might have contributed. So, The answer is maybe. Right? But one thing we can take away, definitely can take away from these results is if we work hard, we can win. If these were local elections, we could have won these elections just by our efforts as North Shore Democrats.